All right, Peter Michaels. We just got off the phone, the Zoom, whatever it's called, with
Patrick Bateman.
Melanie St-Pierre.
Wow. The Thing? We just did the thing.
We just did the thing. Oh, yes, I am Patrick Bateman.
Yes.
You are Peter
People need to know
Michaels.
that.
I feel a little loose.
Why?
Because I just had some fucking Clune Dog tequila right here.
That just looks like an empty plastic cup.
It is producer Ryan's 30th birthday.
Woo!
Do you remember your 30th birthday?
It's like almost decades ago, so no.
Yeah, for
I don't.
sure. No, you don't?
No, not even a little.
I remember mine.
Yours is a little more recent than mine.
Yeah, it was last January, a year ago almost. It was very lackluster. Although I did get a Zoom call with some of my nearest and dearest, which was a lot of fun.
So
but yeah,
you had like a full-on pandemic.
Yeah, for sure.
Birthday.
It was a little weird, and like I definitely thought about it moving closer to 30, and then when 30 actually happened, that's when I really started to think about things. So it's not like I don't know how producer Ryan's been dealing this week, but I don't know if he's got any deep thoughts.
Well, all I can tell you, don't worry about those deep thoughts because everything just continues to change because I'm staring down the needle of 50.
Yeah, but do you think any deep thoughts you had at 30 have been ignored for 20 years?
They matter anymore. Honest to God, there's so many things I probably would have thought of at 30 and thought that mattered that just don't anymore.
Well, we did not get to ask our guest about 30, but what I will say to producer Ryan as we drink his birthday tequila is don't think about it too hard, I guess.
Don't think about it too hard.
That's Pete's advice.
Just do.
And hey, we're in this sick space here at Communal Creative Studios. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool accomplishment by 30, I think.
No better way. And it's not Zoom. We're here in person.
Yeah, he's right
on the other
there.
side of
the
thing.
So yeah, we had a guest on the show today from a band that I've been familiar with for a number of years based on an old high school connection.
I didn't realize you had an old
I didn't tell you that?
No.
Oh, don't
you told me about other high school connections that have...
There's been a few on this show, hasn't there?
A couple that kind of went sideways on you.
Yeah, that's true. But this is a band that has... their trajectory of success over the years has been in my opinion, very different than a number of bands in the country, and it's been amazing. It's really, really been incredible. So I was very glad that Melanie St-Pierre from Casper Skulls had the time to sit down and chat about their new record, Knows No Kindness, which came out in November.
And you can tell this band is different from the other bands, right? Like that there is just something a little bit more unique, special. I don't know what the word is for it, but there's just...
I don't know where it comes from.
Something there.
Yeah, for sure. So I know you've been liking the record a lot. I certainly have been. I almost wished that I had spent more time on this record before we did our top of 2021, right?
Right. Yeah, 100%. But it came out so late in the year, and even though it, as we'll get into, was kind of done and in the books already, written by 2019, I think.
But now that you've listened to this record a ton in the last few weeks, how good would they be a Bose?
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
We need to get those things rolling again.
Sort it out.
As we get into this episode, big shout out to Bose Bar and Stage, Sawback Brewing Company, our friends at Tourism Red Deer, and Go Services Inc.
Yes, Happy New Year's to you all.
It's already like a couple of weeks into the New Year's.
I had some tequila deal with it. Anyways, can't you say Happy New Year for like the first quarter of the year?
No, I think you can say it for the first
What if you
week.
haven't seen someone? I think this is an old Curb Your Enthusiasm plot, actually.
Is it really?
I think it might be.
I was just going to say, with all the methods of communication that are available, if you haven't wished somebody that you know well enough to wish a Happy New Year by this point, you're an asshole.
What did you do for New Year's, by the way?
And that's only 2 weeks ago. We played board games.
Nice.
Had some old fashions. I really got into old fashions over the holiday season. And
Negroni is next up then.
I don't know if I can go Negroni.
Why not?
It's pretty floral. I don't know that I like the.
It's very herbal.
Herbal, floral. Like I remember having a beer that was a Negroni beer, and I'm like, I imagine this is what it'd be like if you grabbed a thing like a jar of potpourri, and just ingested it.
See,
don't know that I'd love that.
That seems like a bit of an overreaction to me.
Yeah?
A bit of an exaggeration. But if you're into the old fashions, I think you're going to have to try the Negroni at one point. What I will say is that at Bose, as far as I understand, you can now get a really good Negroni, whereas when I ordered it from Bose about 5 years ago, let's not talk about it.
All right. Patrick, personally responsible for bringing the Negroni to Red Deer.
Anyways, this is I was super happy we got to do this chat. So I don't know.
Let's get to it.
Well, Melanie, welcome to The Road the Stage again. Thank you so much for joining us. It's fantastic to meet you and talk to you. We're very excited.
Yeah, me too. It's gonna be fun.
Has your press been like pretty low key lately? Because I know your new album, Knows No Kindness, it came out back in it was November.
Yep.
Obviously, you did a ton of press around that. What's the start of 2022 been like for you?
2022 has been interesting because a lot of people are kind of focusing on the closures and everything right now.
Yeah.
So we have some press that's coming, but for now it's just kind of like taking a moment sort of thing to just debrief Christmas and everything. And we got some stuff coming down the line though, so it'll be interesting to see it pick up again.
Had you had any shows booked that you
did?
You did. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we had it was just a couple of Northern Ontario dates. But then we were like, okay, well, let's just put those on hold for now and see what it's hard to stay motivated with like booking anything right now, just because like you book it and then it gets canceled and then you book it and then your soul dies. So
Yep.
You just kind of try to get by. But honestly, I would love to play all the shows right now. Honestly, I'm speaking for all of us. I know we all would. So hopefully that'll be a thing soon.
And you guys were able to get a couple of shows in?
Yes, we did. Yeah. Our last one was in London, Ontario with July Talk, which was awesome.
Right. Oh, right.
And then before that, we had like our release show in Toronto, which was nice for the record. So we got to honor that. And then we had a Montreal date, and then we did some like a couple of festivals at the end of the summer because it was like okay by the end of the summer. So it's like just trying to do whatever you can, and then the cutoff happens, right? So
that was an amazing thing or concept July Talk had with their opening acts, wasn't it?
So cool. Like just really, really awesome. Gives everybody kind of a chance to, be part of the story. It sucks what happened though. They ended up getting COVID. Like I know they were so careful. Like when we were playing, we couldn't even like we could like talk to them, but it was like from like afar. Like they were being really, really cautious, and they were saying like none of them would go and see anybody other than their team. And then it didn't matter. It snuck its way in. So
yeah, I was really looking forward to them getting out because we're in Red Deer, so we're halfway between Edmonton and Calgary. And I was so stoked to see Cadence Weapon for the first time because he was opening their Alberta shows. But unfortunately, that did not happen.
I think it was like Winnipeg when they realized they had COVID.
Yeah,
then they were like kind of stuck in that area for a bit.
Have you heard of them? There are some acts in the States that are using dogs to sniff out COVID. Have you heard about that?
Really? I heard I saw a headline about dogs being trained.
I think there's 3 or 4 different bigger acts that are using dogs and not for the people coming into the show, just for tour, like all the backstage people and all the musicians to have dogs sniff it out.
That's wild. Wow.
The next generation of fighting COVID. So like I totally forgot that you played that show with July Talk. What was it like? Obviously, the thing that I find with July Talk, just kind of backing it up, is that I thought that they put out an incredible record last year that maybe didn't get as much attention as it really deserved, just because we were in a pandemic.
Yeah, for sure.
But you've got them finally able to show this album and their latest version of their live show to the country, but you've also got people who are super stoked to be able to get back to a show of that capacity. What was it like from your perspective?
It was amazing. It was such a good show. Like we had so much fun, and I had actually never seen July Talk play before because every time they play it's like sold out and you're just or we're on tour or whatever. So we finally got to I actually got to see finally from start to finish like a full July Talk set, and oh my gosh, me and Aurora, the drummer, we were just dancing. Like we were at the merch table, we were like having such a good time. Like it was like a party. It was so fun, and like when we played, it was so positive and happy, and everyone was being so sweet, and it was just like I was like, I miss this so much. Like it was a great last show to have, but also like sad that it was the last show. But
yeah,
it's just like if I could have one last show to like cap off the year, I'm really blessed it was that one.
Is there a connection between Casper Skulls and London?
Oh yeah, actually, Aurora Bangarth, so my drummer,
Yeah.
like in Casper Skulls, she actually is from London.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so she was born and raised there. Her family is there. She went to Western University and everything. So yeah, big ties. She would be here tonight, but she has some stuff to do. But she sends her love.
Well, she sounds great on the new album. This is the first record that
She's fantastic.
she's been on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Which again, like it seems like a conversation we've had with every single guest on the road. The stage is the album that was delayed by the pandemic. From what I understand, you guys have been playing these songs for a long time now, right?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, which is fine. Like, they're just road tested. Like when we went to go record them, like it was just like they were ready to go. So it was nice. It was a good feeling.
When were they recorded?
Yeah, so let's see. Wow, time's a blur. Okay, so 2019. 2019 we started in May, I think it was. We went on tour with Pup.
Yeah.
So it was like we went in for our first session, recorded all the drums, and then immediately went on tour, and then we got back, we finished it. But it took us a little bit to finish it. We kind of Frankensteined it with like different engineers and different studios. But we self-produced it, so it ended up being done like recording wise by we had one last session in the pandemic to do, so that was a little bit delayed, but it was like strings. So like it, like all of the instrumentals and things like that and vocals were done by like early 2020, but then the last session didn't happen until like summer of 2020, because that's when like things were okay for that hot minute in the summer.
Yeah.
Got that last session done, and then mixing happened, so the whole thing was like done basically by the new year. So by 2021 we were just like ready to go with it. But had that not happened, it probably would have been a 2020 record. So
right. So
it's a classic story.
I am very curious to understand the taking your songs that you self-produced to different engineers. Like that was very strategic, right?
Yeah, we just wanted to try different studios, different people. We just thought it'd be fun to kind of bring some different people into the fold, and they're all people we really trusted and really like, and they just brought something unique to like we choose kind of which songs we wanted to do with certain people, and it just made the experience really cool. And we got to like kind of I don't know, like the engineers would really hear things, or like we would try, if we didn't like the guitar tone that we did in one session, then we can do it again later on, and maybe they had like a different type of gear that maybe worked better for it or something like that. It was we were really open with everything, and it allowed us to be kind of like more creative in that sense, because we could change things later on down the road if it called for it. So it was really cool to work with different people, and also just each other, and just creating that kind of trust. When you're self-producing something, it's kind of like the four of you make the decision, and that's kind of definite, instead of like someone that's coming in and kind of calling a lot of the shots. So it was really cool experience.
And you've said before that Casper Skulls is very much an equal collaboration.
It very much is. Yeah. We just feel like it just works really well for us. We like being collaborative. We like all the ideas just kind of flowing and bouncing off each other. I just feel like in general, great art should be collaborative. At least for us anyway, works. So.
And would you continue to do this process again? Next album, do it the exact same way?
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. I have no objections to working with a producer. Just have to be the right person. But I don't even know who or what. But we are working on new stuff, so you never know. There could be somebody who all of a sudden we think is the right fit for it. So it's exciting. And like, we have all this downtime now, so it's like, might as well get busy.
Do you live close to your bandmates, aside from Neil, of course?
We did.
Okay.
But Neil and I we are in Sudbury, Ontario.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we during the pandemic, we decided to move home, be closer to some family and stuff like that, because it was like impossible to be near them at all, because they live 5 hours out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're in Toronto a lot though. It really doesn't, like, we're not really finding it to be kind of a problem. Like, they came here a lot in the summer, we came there. Like, it gives us a fun excuse to go back and see friends and do the old thing.
So Sudbury is home, right?
Yeah. We were born and raised here, me and Neil.
So what was the deciding factor when you guys were like, you know what, we've reached whatever point it is we're at, we need to be in Toronto now?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, we didn't start the band here. We actually started in Oakville, Ontario. I went to school there at Sheridan College, and Neil, he moved down with me, and we decided to start the band just randomly. And then, yeah, we had a different drummer at that point. His name was Chris, who's awesome. He introduced us to Fraser, who is our bass player now. And yeah, we started the band, and it just kind of took off, and now we're here.
I used to play music with Fraser's older brother, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm also from Oakville. And that's kind of how I became familiar with you guys a few years ago, is because I was aware that Spence's brother was in this.
Have we met before? You look extremely familiar.
I mean, maybe. I don't think so. So you were in Oakville, and I'm quite fascinated. It's a little inside baseball, but Oakville does not have, many pop-in venues. But I have a feeling you guys were probably there playing a club on Kerr Street that I never actually got to go to. Am I right?
Less Than Level?
Yes. Okay.
Actually, no. Well, yes. At the end of it, yes. But so Chris, our old drummer, he was putting on a lot of shows in Oakville. He was kind of like the source of the music scene. Like, he decided to put on all the shows at Nino's Pizza.
Okay. Yep.
And Lurie's.
I don't know that. I haven't lived in Oakville for about 11 years now, so I kind of missed all that Less Than Level stuff. But I used to play music with Fraser's brother. I imagine Fraser and I went to the same high school.
Probably.
And then I used to play music for years with a guy named Brennan, who I have a feeling you're probably familiar with. He was in a band called Look Here Junior for a long time.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, good people.
Yeah, so that is how I became aware of you and that whole scene that was bubbling around. I don't know. I guess the Kerr Street. I guess Nino's is kind of Kerr Street.
I used to live on
as
Kerr
well.
Street.
Oh, did you actually?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to. The last place I spent a lot of time at was the Moonshine, though.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, that was kind of where.
How big is Oakville?
At this point, about 150,000 maybe.
It's not super big, but it's got like pretty big suburb vibes. Like, it's pretty big.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know the exact population, but definitely more than Sudbury.
Yeah, that's probably true. Anyway, so yeah, that was an interesting little connetion that I was kind of excited to make. Yeah,
I'm so glad you said that.
But maybe we did meet. I don't know. I'm not sure where it would have been, but
well, because you've been gone for a while now, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, if it was 10 years ago, I was still living in Sudbury, so.
Yeah. That would make sense. And I haven't seen Brennan in a few years. I think the last time.
I wish Fraser was here.
Yeah, I definitely remember him when he was like really, really young.
A little baby Fraser.
Really young, but that's about it.
That's so cool.
Well, what was life like growing up in Sudbury? I think I've driven past, and I think all I can remember is that Sudbury was off the highway. And if I remember correctly, there's a big plant of some kind that you can see from the highway. Is that?
Oh, probably the mine.
That's probably what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mining town, so there's a lot of different, like, there's like the slag pour. Don't worry about that.
Sounds great.
But yeah, no, Sudbury's great. Yeah, growing up here was cool. I got to see a lot of just a lot of Canadian staples come through, like Attack in Black and Shotgun Jimmy and Lady Hawk. Just bands that are, if you're Canadian living in a small northern town, they're they're the best. Yeah, no, and just getting to kind of see these sort of bands come through inspires you. Neil, my partner, he's also in the band.
Yeah,
he was in bands in Sudbury. He was prominent in the music scene here. I was more of I go to a lot of shows and I just genuinely loved music, but I didn't feel like I had I don't know, I was ready to kind of move into that territory yet. It wasn't until I moved to Oakville where Neil was like, "You're ready, you need to do this." Where we started collaborating for real. But yeah, no, just the townhouse is still going strong. I mean, during the pandemic, you say that, but it was before the pandemic again became a thing again. So yeah, the venues are still doing things, and I actually started working for a company here called Scion. Basically what they do is like they kind of help a lot of musicians just kind of navigate the music scene, and like try to get them, into some rooms in Toronto and things like that, like some showcase options, things like that. And I'm really excited about it. It's actually my first week.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I get to help out Northern Ontario musicians kind of like try to navigate the music scene and industry in try to break into Southern Ontario or whatever. But it's really exciting, and I'm excited to be part of that, because before I was doing that, I loved doing that, like telling people about Factor and like just what Canada kind of has to offer people. So we have that here, which I think is a really great resource for people. So yeah, Sudbury's doing things.
And growing up there, were you outdoorsy a lot? Like I noticed on the new album, that one of the first things I picked up listening to the album was just all the mentions of outdoorsy things: bird feeders, cows, like mountains, rivers, like and not just in one song, but all across the album. So I assumed that maybe there was some outdoorsiness to you.
Yeah, big narrative. Not just my whole family. We're all extremely outdoorsy people. Like we like if it's a weekend and I'm not doing a hike, I'm just like, I am miserable. I love outdoors. Like I nature bathe constantly. Just everything that I do that's artistic, like artwork wise, because I'm also a visual artist, is all nature. It inspires me completely. Like, and I can't help it. It's just like I'm a tree. Like I come from the forest, so I'm just being myself.
So on that topic, nature, Sudbury, which should also be more specific, Massey, Ontario, which is how long is the drive from Sudbury to Massey?
45-ish minutes.
Okay, so
and I have sorry, go ahead.
No, please continue.
Oh, just I have a cottage there, or as we say in Northern Ontario, a camp. And as we say maybe where you are, a cabin?
Yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah, no cottages here. No cottages here. Yeah.
But yeah, I have a camp there, and it's my grandma obviously lived there. A lot of my family does, so it literally inspired a lot of this record.
It seems, and it definitely seems that way, and that's kind of where I'm going. The cover art for Knows No Kindness. At first, I assumed it was your work, but it's actually not. It's a very historical picture, right? Do you mind kind of delving into the story behind that?
Yeah, for sure. So that picture's actually been in my family for a very long time. I'm not sure of like the exact date where it was taken, and I keep on like saying the wrong date every time. I'm gonna say that it's like circa 1950, 1960. Something like that.
Yeah.
Could even be early 70s, but I doubt it. So this photograph like was taken in Massey, in front of basically this company called AECL. They wanted to dump a lot of nuclear waste into different areas. They were looking into doing runoffs basically back in the day when that was like, not as frowned upon for some reason,
a reasonable option for some.
Reasonable.
Yeah.
But like obviously my family was like, no, like we swim in there. Like so they crashed basically the building where they were having like their pop-up to like conduct their business out of.
Yeah.
And just protested in front of it, and it ended up getting a lot of traction. They did petitions and things like that, and it ended up not happening, which was great because I guess a lot of the like they did the petition and a lot of the population was like, no, we don't want this, so they moved out of town. I don't know much more than that, and honestly my family doesn't even remember too much either. Like but yeah, so that photograph was taken by I'm pretty sure it was Hugh Cummings, but he passed away like a while ago. So his son Hal Cummings was the one who I talked to about permissions and everything for it. He's also very old now. But it was really fascinating to talk to him about it, and just like he was like, oh, you have this interest in this photograph, why? And he didn't realize, like, yeah, well, my family's in it. Like, my grandma's literally holding up the sign that says Massey, no nuke country. My aunt is like a little bit below her, and like a couple of my like cousins and things like that. So just really, really cool. And this legacy that, was there. And I really loved that this story existed, and I really wanted to, at some point in my life, I always knew because I found this picture in 2015.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, in 2005 when I was 15. I found that picture and I knew that I was going to do something with it one day. I just didn't know what. And here we are.
It's so fascinating to me because you hear so many of those stories, but fast forward from that moment 10, 15 years where the protesting didn't work. The community wasn't able to rally enough to prevent something like that happening, and then it leads to disaster.
Which probably happens more often than not, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Have you seen that Dark Waters movie?
No.
So it's this really cool movie that came out like a year ago with Mark Ruffalo, where he's playing a lawyer who's representing DuPont in the States, who are responsible for essentially destroying entire communities and their lives to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
With bad science, I guess we could maybe call it ignorant science.
Yeah. Well, also like the Sagamok community is also like the reserve is also on those, on those rivers as well. So like it's just like, trying to preserve things, please, for the love of God.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so hard these days to try to fight for things, because like the devastations that's going on right now too in the world, when you think about all of the protesting that's happening and everything, it's just like you feel so alone in all of that. And like, yeah, so I guess like when I was thinking about that, I was looking at the protest my family did. I was like, I got really inspired by that. I was like, this is something that is part of my, my upbringing. So it just like and I think about that too, like in those communities, like that, like those communities protesting as well for like their land. It's just like anyways, I'm getting all emotional.
It's all good. You're allowed to. But no, like, it's a heavy topic. There's
just so much bad crap in the world, and you just want to fight for everything, everything good, and it's tough.
No, it's fair. It's a fair statement. I often think these days about how inspirational last summer was with the people rising up in the streets in the States, and how we have not talked or looked back on that time in what feels like a full year.
Yeah.
Which is a little interesting, but that's a conversation for another day and another podcast. God damn it. Well, we were talking before, and obviously when we are preparing for an interview, we spend quite a bit of time with their content, and it's fair to say both of us have been digging this album like crazy. It's been on repeat for us, I think. So
yeah, completely on repeat. And it's the one thing I've really found with it as well is because I've dug into this all through streaming services, and with this album in particular, I really miss the good old fashioned liner notes, lyrics to read along with, because there is so much going on and so many great stories to be told throughout that album. I'm curious. If I were to say that the album helps me sleep, is that an insult, or do you take that as a I honestly, it's just like a good book. I'll put it in before I go to bed, and it's just the stories are so great, and it's perfect.
That's incredible feedback. Thank you. That means a lot.
That's very nice,
honestly,
Peter.
If the record could be a good book, like that's my goal. We made sure to put all the lyrics on the liner notes in a font that was cursive but easy to read. Because that's the most important part. And like I understand that, like a lot of people, like when I was reading a lot of the reviews for this record, a lot of people were like, well, like the lyrics are great, but like I don't understand a lot of them. A lot of them are kind of really artistic or really poetic. But like that's kind of just the nature of our band. Like we've always been kind of like, we talk in kind of really poetic sort of lyrics, and I understand that they can be kind of like a lot to digest for a lot of people, but I don't know, it's just kind of it's just kind of the nature of our band. Like even Neil, he writes like that. That's just how he writes. It's how we both write. We're really into books, really into poetry, really into like all that art stuff. Being a visual artist, I don't know, it all just comes hand in hand. So I'm just excited to get better at it. I feel like this was a really, really great project for me to like kind of like like I wrote a lot of this one myself. So it was great to kind of like try doing that for once, like where I try to write the whole thing. But on our next record, like Neil's coming back, like he's got some amazing songs, and just because they didn't make it onto this record, it's just because he literally was like, you're telling a story and these stories are coming out and I can't really interject here. And he's so sweet.
He sounds like a lovely dude.
It was really cute. He's just like, I don't know. But yeah, no, like on our next one, like we just want to like make it really good, vibey, just like, just good songs. Like storytelling is great and I love doing it for this last one, but the next one, like there's still gonna be some stories, but it's gonna be like, I don't know, just different vibe.
Okay, so
I love that though.
I do want to talk more about what's next, but not just yet. I because okay, I don't know how to word this. For our listeners, there's a song on your album called Witness. Now, we don't intend on going into the details for that.
I can. I'm
You don't have to if you don't want to, though, because that story is already out there in a number of articles. But, on the bare bones, you witnessed something as a very young child that I can only imagine stayed with you for your entire life. And you put out this song about it. Was there hesitation to talk openly about that story in the format that Casper Skulls ended up leaving it in? And B, was it healthy for you?
Yeah. So that song was interesting. It was actually that song and a song that people haven't heard yet called Yards.
Oh.
That we'll probably be putting out soon. It's a B-side off of this record.
Amazing.
So Witness was a really hard song to start. It was a hard song to bring to jam, and it was a hard song to start playing live.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a hard song for me to listen to now. I quite enjoy the song.
It's a great song.
It's a nice song. I just, like there are moments still live where it's been a bit and we decide to play the song or something like, or the show is just kind of, the energy is just going so strong that like, you're feeling it and you just kind of like give a little cry. Like, I mean, and not like, boohoo on stage, but like, like you're just like so emotional in it. The song is a tough one, but it's therapeutic. And I recommend everybody just try doing that for like, it doesn't have to be every song that you write has to be this, this big movement for yourself or this big cathartic thing. But like every once in a while, I think people kind of owe it to themselves to try to do something like that. 'Cause it is really therapeutic and it allows me now to talk about it. Like I don't know if I would have been able to talk about it like 4 or 5 years ago before I wrote the song and started playing it live, but like it's just bad stuff happens and you want to move past it, and the way to move past it is to talk about it and share it. And for your listeners, I guess, because they have no idea what I'm talking about.
If you want to, absolutely.
It's okay, yeah. I witnessed a murder when I was a kid, and it was basically like totally random, doesn't make any sense. But basically what happened is my neighbor that I had been living next to for years, since I was a child. And at this point I was about 8 years old.
Right.
My best friend at the time and my sister, we used to raise these rabbits. They were kind of like in a shared property behind. It was the neighbor who shared a yard with the one who murdered, who did the murder.
Yeah.
I can't even say it, but like who did the act. So between our houses there was the rabbits. So from my house and her papa's house, which is where she spent a lot of her time growing up, was these two houses in the middle, which was his and then our neighbor's, and our neighbor was the one who had all the rabbits and we'd help her with them. So basically we all shared kind of a property line sort of thing. So from my house to her house, we could walk through all the properties and never really seemed to be a problem because we were, we had the rabbits and everything. We go check on them. So one time she brought her father with her to go check on them. And the neighbor that lived in the other house was not okay with it or something, or I don't know, was just acting weird. And the neighbor on the other side had noticed and went and let us know to get him to maybe not walk through the yard anymore just because he was being kind of weird. And so I guess he was confused and didn't understand, so he went and confronted him, and it became this whole kind of like back and forth on the property line. And then at some point he just like, the neighbor just pulled out a gun on my best friend's dad and we all kind of like were confused, and we were 8. We all ran into the house. We were trying to ask her prepare like to come outside because we didn't know what was going on, and then by the time we all went outside, he shot him. Doesn't make sense. So
No.
After that, we were just kind of like, okay, this is a thing now. And like he died on the way to the hospital.
It's terrible. It's terrible. Like, I mean, sorry, go for it.
He just went in the house and waited for the police and went to jail, and then he died in jail.
Oh my God. Holy fuck.
Like, I don't mean to laugh. It's just like it doesn't make sense. So
no, of course, and like I mean, I can't imagine the kind of trouble that you had to go through after that. I mean,
like we were all in therapy, and
yeah, of course,
and like we're still in touch now and everything, and we've been friends for a very, very, very long time. And yeah, we like, I even asked her like before I wrote this song, I was like, is this okay? Like, I don't want to do anything. And she said yes. She's like, turn it into art. And I was like, okay.
So you decide to make that song, and then, but like, was someone helping you like commit to it, or was that all on you?
Okay, so I don't even like remember how this got started, but like I guess it's because I wrote this song called Yards, and I'll explain Yards.
Right, okay.
Yards isn't out yet, but it will be. It's about this other devastating thing that happened when I was a kid that no one knows about. My house burned down on my sister's birthday.
Oh my God. Jesus.
And this is after you've already.
This was before I was 5 years old.
Okay.
But on her 7th birthday, our barbecue caught fire and just engulfed the house, and I was on the swing in the backyard just watching this happen and confused. And she was inside, and it exploded the door, like it was a glass like moving door.
Mm-hmm.
And so she fell onto the ground, and then we had a dog named Fancy, and she got the dog out, and then she ended up winning an award for doing that at her school, and she won a trip to Nashville to go get awarded by like a life-size Sparky the dog, and like national firefighters and all this stuff. Like, just
wow. Oh wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I think a lot of this though speaks to the importance of art, and I think I'd read that you had a teacher.
I love art.
It helped guide you towards expressing
Mr.
things.
Dodds. Mr. Dodds.
Yeah, just like I like this record because it's kind of like a life story sort of thing. And I know that like a lot of people are doing that these days, and it's like, popular thing to do, but I don't know, it's a very cathartic thing to do. And you can really learn a lot about yourself from doing that. So I owe everything to, I don't know, the things that shape me. I mean, I don't understand a lot of them that happened, and a lot of them don't make sense at all, and I'll never forget them. But like, I don't know, you just have to like live. And one of the craziest things I learned in therapy was like, because for a while, like I was like, was it my fault? Like, I think we were all thinking that. And when I was young, like I just remember like the therapist being like, the only person that you can control is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that never like left me. I was like, oh my God, like that's the truest thing ever. And yeah, I don't know.
Well,
yeah.
You got any trauma you want to write a song about and figure your shit out?
Honestly, I wish I could. It's
you
great
could.
that you have that outlet. I'm kind of curious though. Again, earlier you had talked about how collaborative this effort was. I'm curious the process, because it is so deeply personal to you. Right. How does it become collaborative? How did everybody else pitch in and come up with this album?
So it was collaborative in the sense where the structures and any sort of like interesting little production bits and things like that, like we all collaborated on those for sure. Everybody wrote their parts. So I would bring like an idea, or Neil and I would figure out sort of a thing. Maybe I had some loose lyrics, or a chorus or a verse, at least enough to bring to a jam session. And then from there we would all kind of fill in the blanks, and I just like, oh, I hear this, oh, I hear that. Or like an example would be Frasier on the song Monument. As soon as I started playing that finger picking part, he was immediately like, oh, I don't play bass on this song. And he picks up a little reface synth. And I was like, what? And yeah, he did. And it was the vibe. It was the move. So, and it's those things that I cherish. So, so all the color and stuff like that, the tastes, the tempos, the this and that. Like I feel like writing a song, like you kind of have an idea of what you think a tempo should be, but then I don't know, with some collaboration, all of a sudden it becomes something else. Like the song Ouija, like I brought that to jam, not really knowing what it was. I was kind of like, this song might suck. And I started playing it, and immediately Aurora was like, "Oh, I hear like this really cool shuffle, like Nico Case sort of thing in this." And I was like, "What? That's really cool." And then it just kind of took off from there. So yeah, I love that. I think that's important and cool.
I was reading the Lindsay Rhodes article in Audio
Oh
Femme.
yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, for sure. So shout out to her in that article because it was great.
Like moved me to tears.
While St-Pierre cites Ouija as the best song she's ever written, Bangarth points to Rose of Jericho as a personal favorite.
Yeah,
which I relate to. Jericho. God damn, that's a good song.
He's obsessed with that song. Neil, he's like, that's my favorite song. Like, I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, no, like I love Rose of Jericho. It's just a good song. It's fun.
Yeah, that's a good way
to put it. We played it live for the first time ever, like at our Montreal and at our Toronto show in the fall. And the Montreal show, like we were just kind of like figuring it out. We were like, please forgive this just in case it sucks. And it was like, it went over fine. It was fine. But then at the Toronto show, we played it. It was like, it was insane. Like it was so good. And like, I even had a moment throwing back to like, how we like our earlier shows used to be, where we used to like really rock out.
Yeah.
I was like throwing my guitar again and like flipping it upside down and doing my things at the ending of it. And I just like didn't expect that to come out. So I was like, oh yeah, we can still rock.
Does Aurora have the woodblocks on stage for that song?
No. We made a joke and I was like, should I just like not play guitar and just like hit those? And she's like, no. she's a professional percussionist.
Yeah.
So I feel like she would be like, Mel, don't do that.
Well, I won't say one or the other is my favorite, but it's a very close tie.
I'm glad that you guys in the band can, because normally you get they're all my children and I can't choose between.
Yes.
So I love the fact that you're willing to throw it out there that's a favorite.
Yeah, it's fine. Like I like all of them for different reasons. But yeah, they're just like, some of them are funner to play live.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are sleepier to play live. And so like you find your favorite ones for reasons like that. But like just aesthetically and stuff like that too.
With you touched on it a little bit in your first record. Your earlier music is sonically quite a bit different than what you guys put out on Knows No Kindness, and your trajectory based on your early years was pretty wild and not seen too often in this country, I don't believe. Were you guys worried at all about the reception? I know you guys have been playing those songs for a long time before the album came out, but were you concerned at all about the reception to what some might consider a shift in sound?
Always. I mean, that's always going to be a thing. Like, you're going to have people who are like, I liked when the boy sang, or like, I liked when the girl sang, or like, it's fine. Like, it happens. I just feel like you can't let that kind of like hold you back. Because like, ultimately we're musicians, we're artists. Like, we want to make great art, and just because it's not great art for somebody doesn't mean it's great art for somebody else. And it doesn't mean that we'll not ever return to that. Like, we're allowed to do. I mean, I find musicians get themselves into this area where they're like, oh, I can never return to that, or oh, I can't do that anymore. And I don't know, like if I'm feeling it, I'm feeling it. So I think I'm just gonna let kind of like my guts kind of determine the direction. And my guts were saying, hey, like you need to resolve some stuff. So I did, and I feel like I got a lot out of it, and I don't feel like I have to make a second one or a third one like that, because I feel like I got what I needed out of it. So I'm just excited to work on some new stuff, and whether it be, what comes out, but.
So funny, because for a band that got a lot of, hype and attention over the years, seeing the original comparisons, which was really interesting to me. So, some people are comparing your stuff to Sonic Youth-ish. Yeah. And then the new music comes out and they're comparing it to Mazzy Star. And I'm like, well, although not totally the same, that would be a pretty sick concert, right? Those two together. So,
you know what's funny? I got a tweet. We got tweeted at like not long ago, and somebody heard the new record and they were like, oh, heavy Sonic Youth vibes, eh? And I was like, no.
Heavy Sonic Youth vibes.
But then it's funny because I tweeted back at the person. I was like, oh, we will never financially escape this. Like the Tiger King thing. And then the person was like, what? I was like, oh, no, I'm just kidding. Like, this is just a comparison we get all the time.
Yeah. Okay, so do those comparisons bug you at all? It doesn't seem like much phases you guys.
These are bands I really like and appreciate. Honestly, the Mazzy Star one, I'm very surprised that people thought that. Like, I'm like, really? Because I get like a Sleater Kinney kind of like vibe from a lot of this stuff. Or like, I mean, not as a lot more with the older music, because that was a lot of the inspiration. Like Neil and I were Sleater Kinney like heads when we were writing Lips and Skull and stuff. Like we actually went to go see them that year. Play at the what was it? Was it? Oh my God, Sound Academy then, or was it? Whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A venue in Toronto that I don't think no longer exists, and or it has a new name. But yeah, so there's a lot of inspo in that. But honestly, like, I don't know, I welcome if somebody hears something in it. It just means that maybe it's serving their interests. So like maybe the people who are hearing the music and thinking, oh, it sounds like Mazzy Star, maybe it's because they really like Mazzy Star and they, you know, they're thinking about it in that way. So yeah. I think it's cool how people can hear your music and just, you know, decide what they think it kind of matches. So
well, it doesn't seem like it pigeonholes you guys at all anyways, so doesn't really matter, does it?
No.
And I think times are different. Fun. Like, especially when I was younger, it was you were this genre, you were that genre, you didn't listen to anything. But I think that's gone, long gone. And people jump genres all over the place.
Like, I don't want to make the same music over and over and over again. Like,
Thank you.
I understand and I appreciate like people having a sound and like, but like I don't know, like we will be so cautious to not use the same drum beat or like to not use the same like chord progression or to not use the same like, and like we'll call each other out, like especially Aurora, like she'll call me out and be like, that's the same chord progression and like you played like this other song. I'm like, oh no, like, and I feel seen and I get all defensive. No, but like, yeah, and I love that because it's like, yeah, call me out, man. I don't want to do that.
We've talked about it.
Saving me from doing the same thing.
We've talked about it a few times on the show, but the benefits of having a theory trained musician in the band.
Yeah, she can call me out and be like, and just to even play it up even a bit more, she can be like, you're playing this, and she could even say the the tempo or like the something. Like she's so good at that. So yeah, it's cool. I appreciate it a lot. And even though I get like all like in our jams, it's like, no, she's right.
Well, you've put out this new album. It's gotten some really good reviews. We love it. You've talked a little bit about how you guys are well underway into what's next.
Big question.
Yeah, what like, you know, it's too often
predict the future.
Yeah, too often I ask questions about what's on your plate, but and usually the answer is, well, you don't get to know that. But is there anything that, like, is there something that you're telling people, friends, family, us about the next evolution?
Just there will be a B-side coming out probably in the next few months.
Mm-hmm.
That we just have to finish a couple of things on that one. That we of the reason why it was a B-side, because we just wanted to kind of fix it up and didn't really fit sort of the record, but that will be a thing. But also just I just purchased a really cool, well, I have to pay off the rest of it because I used to work at Long and McQuaid like maybe 3 weeks ago now.
Okay. Used to.
I'm starting a new job. But I have to pick up this universal audio interface that I bought that I have to like finish paying off. And then I can start doing some demoing, which I'm stoked on. And Neil, like his songs are basically done. Like we can figure that at any point. But yeah, it's sending everything to the band right now and kind of getting that all figured out. Neil and I are trying to buy a house right now.
Hey,
hopefully April 2022. We'll see.
In Sudbury.
So, in Sudbury.
Nice.
Owner. I really want to own a home.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Okay, so do you and Neil, like you're saying your songs, Neil's songs, you live together, you know each other very well. Is there any separation? Is he hiding things from you?
I only say Neil songs, my songs, is because who wrote the lyrics or like who wrote like who came up with the idea for the song or something like that. Like that's But like eventually they're gonna be our songs, so we put them out as Casper. But for now, they're like they're the ones that Neil are bringing to the table, or the ones that I am bringing to the table. That's just how we've kind of always differentiated that. Actually, like I remember we had this little in the early days, like one of those like little whiteboards where you write down. Well, you don't know the title of the song yet, but it's on the jam session thing. So it's like Neil's new 1, 3.
Yeah.
Like he used to have one that was like, this one sounds kind of like The Wire. I don't know. It is funny.
Well, I cannot wait to see what comes of that, and see these B-sides or listen to these B-sides too, because I finished that record and I'm like, okay, we'll just start it again.
And to see it live, which hopefully things can start.
Yeah, have you guys you've played Sled Island before, right?
I don't think we have actually.
Have you never played in Alberta?
No, we played in Alberta, just not the festival. For whatever reason, I think when it was going on, we had another tour booked, something like it just never ended up happening. But we played Alberta a few times.
Okay.
It's a great place.
Just not Red Deer.
I don't think Red Deer, no.
No Red Deer show. It's so funny because I was watching your KXP performance, which you were talking about how every day you just kept getting further and further west than you've ever been before.
Yeah.
And that would have been pretty much the end of your as far west as you could go at that point.
Yeah. At one point, like we were, I can't remember if it was before we ended up, no, it was after KXP because we were in California at this point. But we were literally as far west as west could be. And it was like just the ocean.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking how weird that was. And we got a picture of just like the ocean and us. Like, I think Neil's walking towards it and I'm eating an apple.
Oh, very cool.
But like, it's just, that was a really funny moment. We were like, wow, we drove here. That's weird. We didn't die.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sure plenty of people warned you about driving west, I'm assuming.
Well, actually, the second time, I think it was the second time that we were driving through out down in California. Oh, and also the prairies. Everything was on fire. Like, I think the big wildfire in California happened like right after we were out of there, but like the prairies were like crispy. Like everything was like all, burnt up and stuff. And I was just like, what happened here?
Yeah, that can be a problem out here.
Sure can.
Summer fires.
Although Northern Ontario tends to get some, they had a really rough 2021, right?
Yes. Yeah. We had crazy fires. Not so much like in Sudbury, but we got all the the smoke, like there's haze for days in the summertime. It was bad. Like I think it was Red Lake area, if I'm not mistaken, and some other places. Yeah, they were just like engulfed. Just so brutal.
It's sad. It almost becomes, we just know to expect it now, right? Like late July, early August, we just expect to be
a couple years of air advisor, or a couple weeks rather of an air advisory.
Yeah.
God, and like that's so scary. Like evacuate your home because it might. I don't like thinking about it. Well, mainly because my house burned down when I was
just gonna say. I can only imagine what that would bring up.
Gotta bring that one up again. No, I'm just kidding. But like, just it's the world.
Well, okay, so we briefly touched on it before, but we should probably get back to Mr. Dodds, right?
Oh yes, get to Mr.
Real quick, Mr. Dodds. Is Mr. Dodds still around?
I don't know.
That's fair.
I'm assuming so. I don't actually know. I haven't heard anything from about him or anything. I mean, he was a high school professor, so I'm sure he's either retired or I don't know. I hope he's still alive. Oh my gosh, I want to check it.
Is that like? Do you have a teacher from high school that you remember making some sort of connection with that really helped you move forward in life?
I really hate to say it, but I think I'm one of those people that I don't.
You didn't.
I have teachers that had an impact and taught in a certain way that kind of helped me to understand, but I never had that connection of like that teacher being the person to really just open my eyes to things, which I really wish I could say that I did, but
honestly, he in his perspective, he's probably just like, who were you again? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
you never know.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like, you could take teachers as, you throw them or you can keep them. It's literally just like, what do you get out of it? And the fact that he cared enough to care about a couple pieces of my writing where everybody else was just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Meant a lot to me because I was in high school, I was the worst. Like, I was one of those kids that was just like, and I didn't know. I was like, I don't know. I thought I knew everything. I didn't know anything. It's funny, like all the beliefs that I had in high school, like I do not have now. Like, which is
what, you don't know everything as a kid? What?
I didn't know everything as a kid.
I will be playing this back for my teenagers, by the way. Thank you.
But I did truly love to like be a shit disturber. But whatever.
You and me both. You and me both. But that was one of the teachers that I remember. There's two teachers I can really think of. One of them, in fact, I turned 30 about a year ago. And for some reason, that made me want to reach out to people that I had ignored for a decade and a half.
Oh.
And one of those teachers was one of them. He never got back to me, but
there's an album right there.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Start writing.
You'll notice me one day, Mr. Neufeld.
Funny how we always remember their names, but they probably don't remember ours.
Yeah, you're probably right.
We were just one in a sea.
How big of a school would it have been in Sudbury? How many?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so back then, probably like, I hope I don't say this, people go, what? Like maybe 400 kids at this school? Like,
okay,
yeah. Is that a lot?
So that's the, like, you teachers remembering. How big was yours?
I honestly don't remember because I swapped high schools in grade 12 in Oakville for a better music program.
So I like to think my graduating class had 60 people in it. So I'd like to think that the teachers could remember everybody, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, more populated areas are going to have more people. Like, I think 400 kids for a high school, that I actually think that might even be a little bit too much, like, that I'm remembering. But back then, I remember that school, like, really having a lot of people in it. Like, it was an art school. People would go there for music, or like you'd get in, right? Like, you'd apply and get in. So I had to, like, I went for visual art. So I had to do like a visual art test, or you'd go for theater or music. And like, it's funny that I didn't do music, but it's because I was like, I really love visual art.
And Neil was also at that school?
No, he wishes. No, I'm kidding. No, he went to a different high school, but he was heavily friends with everybody from that school anyway. Like, I actually think he was more friends with the people that at that school than his own school. So just the school that he went to was kind of like a jockier kind of preppy school here in town. Like, I don't know if it is like that anymore, but I remember it was like that then. Like, it was just like a lot of people who wanted to do sports would go there. It's very competitive for sports. Whereas I was on the soccer team at my art school, and we lost all the time. And one school tried to like bully us on the field and like push us around, but we were too busy running around in circles and like looking at butterflies and like picking flowers to like, you know what I mean? Like, we were just like, what? We're playing a sport. Like, let's have fun.
Well, marrying the two of those together, man. Maybe you have, and if you have, awesome. If the Sudbury Wolves called you tomorrow and say, hey, we need you to sing the national anthem at our game next week, what would your reaction be?
Do it. So Stefan from Pup, he is like a big Sudbury, like he comes all the time. He also has a camp that Neil and I have been to a few times. It's in French River, but he got asked to sing, and I wish I could have been there.
Yeah,
you did it.
Oh God, he actually messaged us that night and was like, I'm singing at the, I'm doing it at the Sudbury Wolves. I was like, I have to go, but we were in Toronto at this point and we couldn't make it. But oh God, I'm sad that I missed that, because that
God damn, that's cool. Incredible.
That is incredible.
I know.
But how would you feel if you got asked? You could do it, no problem, just stand up and do it. Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be able to have like all that like, like I don't think I could do that, but like I could, I can wing it and try. Honestly, in my life, I'm just like, I can't embarrass myself more ever. I'm just things are embarrassing. I'm just gonna do it.
I don't think it'd be very
nothing to lose.
Yeah. I don't think it would be very difficult to make our anthem sound more impressive than it is.
Yeah. Some people try a little too hard. Okay, well, speaking of embarrassing then, I did notice as I was going through your Instagram feed, just kind of looking at things, pretty much every post I went by, liked by Stefan Babcock. Liked by Stefan. Like, he likes like everything. What's the deal?
Because he's a supportive pal in the music industry.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No, but like we all love each other. Like they've done so much for our band. Like, it's crazy. Like I don't even know. Like, they've taken us out. They've wined and dined us. Like, the support they've given us has just been unbelievable. And we've had a lot of heart to hearts about it. Just like, we're just like, man, like, gosh, I don't know, we just have a lot of respect for each other, and yeah, I don't know.
It helps that
Super cool.
they're awesome.
They are awesome.
They're great. They're such good people. I can't even. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, we had a pup show at our podcast here. We're in the Communal Creative Studios, which is connected to Beau's Barn Stage in Red Deer, which many years ago, and I've said it a number of times on this show, July Talk played a show at Beau's, and it changed my entire view of the potential of live music in this city. And then Pup played 2019, fall of 2019?
Fall, yep.
And it was fucking great. And I hope that we can get Casper Skulls on that very same stage one of these days too. That'd be pretty special.
Agreed.
Be cool.
Yeah,
I'd love that
for sure. Pete, you got anything else, man?
No, this just I can't say enough about how awesome this album is, front to back. It is stellar, and I will be listening to it for many years to come. Love it.
Thank you. That means so much. Yeah, that's the goal right now these days. It's like, who will be listening to this record in a couple of years? Because everything's so immediate right now. But thank you. That means literally the world. Like, you have no idea. And thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And we really hope that we can see you guys in town or on your way through town one of these years. I don't know when the hell this thing is going to end.
Soonish, hopefully.
For sure. And say hi to the rest of them. Say hi to Neil, Aurora, and young McLean.
Young McLean.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Will do.
All right, Melanie, thank you so much. You have a fantastic evening.
You too.
Cheers.
Take care, guys.
Peace.
See ya.
Bye.
Did you almost cry too?
I was like, I mean, honestly, there's a lot to ingest with all of that. Just how personal it is, and
very personal.
And I'm glad she did bring up that she will let the emotions get to her on stage. I kind of thought about, the Tragically Hip have the song "Fiddler's Green," which is about Gord Downey's nephew who had passed away.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And they wrote that song, and it did make the album, but then they put it away.
Right.
And they didn't play it live because it was just too much.
Yeah.
To go through what Mel went through and to be able to relive that story night after night, eventually, hopefully, on stage, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Part of me, maybe this is rude, but part of me feels like we don't often get to talk about the contextual reasons behind songs that are so traumatic. It happens, but it does.
Sure.
It's not every album I listen to. I can pick out a song or two that I'm like, oh, that's coming from some heavy shit.
Yeah, but not all the time are people so outward with it as well, right?
You're right.
Like,
you're right.
They kind of, Mel alluded to it as well, is they, not that they hide things in songs, but just the way that it comes out, it's a little bit more in code than it would be just a straight out. So sometimes you don't know it's there.
Yeah.
And it's there.
Anyways, what I will say is thanks to Melanie St-Pierre for joining us on the road the stage. And the 2021 release, Knows No Kindness, is already becoming my favorite album of 2022. So
we can let it slide.
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
I mean, you could start listening to Hunky Dory for the first time this year. It could be your favorite album of the year.
Perfect. Good.
Anyways, good chat, Pete.
That was a good chat indeed. And I do look forward to them being on stage at Beau's to see these songs come to life.
It's got to happen.
Yeah.
It's got to happen. Well, again, a quick shout out to our producers, Ryan and Ryley.
Who I'm sure Ryan's ready to get the hell out of here. Birthday boy.
Yeah, it's fucking 30th birthday. He's here listening to us nerds talk.
Maybe we just keep going on. What else you got? What'd you do over the last?
He's flaunting a glass bottle.
It's a lot emptier than it was at the beginning of this.
That's that Clune dog stuff. Pete, who else is joining us today?
Well, we've got, of course, Ryley, producer Ryley.
It's not his fucking
Creative
birthday.
Studios. It's not his birthday, so whatever. Sawback Brewing Company, Tourism Red Deer, Beau's Barn Stage, and Go Services Inc.
And you can catch our episodes wherever you get your podcasts,
share, subscribe,
or subscribe to the Communal Creative Studios YouTube channel, or I will start getting violent.
You've been threatening this for a while now. Let's see. I think maybe we get a little bit more tequila in you.
I'm going to go start knocking on doors.
Okay, maybe the next episode, Patrick will be even more fierce, which comes
smash
out...
a camera.
When?
Wednesday.
The Road the Stage is produced by Ryan Kuly and Ryley Surian at the Communal Creative Studios in Red Deer, Alberta, in partnership with Go Services Inc., Sawback Brewing Co., Tourism Red Deer, and Beau's Bar and Stage.